because they don't know how to party, apparently. And
I think it was like a 12-year-old's birthday breaking
Yeah,
back.
well-
I don't think they're doing shots with stupid.
look, everyone emphasizes it. But then, because all the wogs are out here, like Southwest Sydney, like Australia in general is very multicultural.
Absolutely.
But
It's the identity of Australia.
100%. But I feel like Southwest Sydney is like just a next level of multiculturalism.
Well, I think that's because when our parents... So for those of you who don't know, Chris is Spanish-Italian.
Yep.
And your parents came over here...
Oh, well, my dad would have came, I think, in the 60s.
Yeah.
No, sorry. 70s.
70s.
Yeah.
And mum?
Mum, when she would have been little, so probably the 70s as well.
Okay. My parents came at around that time period as well.
Yeah.
And they were escaping like dictatorships. They were escaping really totalitarian governments and came over to Australia as like a better way of life.
Yeah.
And because Australia was just settling into its identity, it was bringing in a lot of immigrants because they needed workers, they just needed a population.
Well, fun fact, when my dad came to Australia, the only reason why he got fast-tracked and let in he came with my two half-brothers and their mum at the time, right?
Yeah.
That's when he first came from Spain. But he told me, I only found out long ago, he got accepted into Australia because he had military history in Spain.
Right.
So pretty much, I think Australia was scared they were going to be under attack from... I'm so shit at history. It was like Vietnam or...
I know, we were definitely hostile with the Asian Pacific for a while.
Yeah, and that was the only reason why they let him in, because then they're like, all right, sweet, he's already been trained.
Yeah.
We can chuck him in like that. And that's how he came. And even back then, but like Australia was still really racist. Like the amount of stories my dad's told me when he came to Australia, like even on the plane here, he spoke zero English at all, right?
Yeah. And isn't that crazy? Like, could you imagine moving to another country
Yeah.
where you don't have the internet, you don't have YouTube?
My dad was 20 with two
20,
kids.
2 kids?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
20 or 21.
So
yeah.
imagine taking that risk at 20 years old with 2 kids, not knowing what's on the other side of that plane flight. I hope you came on a plane, right?
Yeah. I think.
And taking that risk to go to this random country where it's just like there's no one or nothing going on, like that is huge.
Yeah, big time, man. Like your whole life is like starting the next step. A new country, new language, new everything. And I remember he was telling me, he's like, he was on the plane and I think my brothers or his ex-wife wanted a glass of water, but he didn't know any English at all. So he's like trying to like imitate like holding something and being like, agua, por favor, agua.
Yeah.
And even the flight attendants back then were like, okay, say please. And my dad had no idea what they were saying.
You're kidding.
And he's like, agua, por favor. Like, necesito agua. And like, they were just like, yeah. Like they understood what he was saying.
Yeah.
But they were still mocking him. And it just like today, racism is much better compared to back then.
What do you mean by better? Like
No, like, okay, but you know what I mean. But yeah, like back then, like that's so...
The social norms have shifted.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I think, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. Like, you never want to make someone feel ostracized, or you never want to make, be in a position where you... Like, for example, in that position right there, the flight attendant knew what was going on.
Yeah.
There's only so many things people will ask for on a plane.
Yeah.
And she just chose to be an arsehole.
Yeah, pretty much.
She just chose to be an arsehole because this guy was different.
Even when he was working, because his trade is a plumber. Like, long story short, my dad started working when he was 9 years old in Spain because my abuelo passed away. So since then, he's always been a plumber, like to bring home money for my abuela, my tias, my tios, whatnot. So when he came to Australia and he was working as a plumber, he still spoke, the most shittest English in the world. Like, I'm talking like maybe in a whole sentence he knew like half a word, right?
He's throwing Spanish words in there just to fill up the gaps.
Yes, okay.
He's drawing pictures.
Pictionary. And his mentality then was, he worked with all Aussies, right? And his mentality was, okay, if this business is going to start going down, like down the drain. I need to be not financially secure, like just secure in his position.
Yeah.
That the boss isn't going to be like, all right, well, because, you know, everyone back then as well called us all Mexicans.
Yeah.
My nonna still calls us all Mexicans, even though I'm not even from South America, Central America.
Can you just say that again? You're not from South America?
I am 100% European.
For everyone that's asking, everyone that's in your fucking DMs, Spanish.
Yeah, not Uruguayan. I mean, I talk like them sometimes because I hang around you so much and I play candombe. But
anyways.
Yeah, so like his mentality was, all right, say back then a plumber was putting in 2 toilets a day, right, on a job. My dad was putting in 4 toilets a day.
Right.
Because he knew that if money stopped coming in and the boss had to let people go, he wasn't going to get let go because he was bringing money in for the boss further than everyone else.
So he had to work twice as hard to get the same result.
Yeah. And all the other Aussies that were working with him caught on to this. So, you know, they were starting to hide his tools, offering him cigarette breaks to slow him down, you know, like fucking up his work.
Which is ridiculous because you would think that if you see someone excelling and, you know, working hard, that you'd be inspired to go and do that. But rather than join in that movement or that momentum, you're going to try and slow them down.
Oh, 100%. And that's how it was back then. Like,
it's so tribalistic. It's so my side versus your side.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't hate on those people too much because that's the culture and that's the way things were.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? My opinion is that if you're not doing something that's significantly different to everyone else now, then you've got no reason to criticize what people were doing back then.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's obviously going to be outliers in that, but it's just the social norm. It's the way things were, you know, and I'm sure those people kind of look back on those decisions now and go, probably not a good call.
Yeah, 100%. But it's just crazy to see. Like, I mean, we've progressed a lot since then.
Absolutely.
Like, my dad, like, he's still plumbing now. He's, you know, 73 and he's still going.
73 is young.
Yeah, 73 is young, man. That's it. And he can speak English now, thank God. I mean, before he learned English in Australia, he learned Italian. So don't ask me how that works. But he's still plumbing, and you know, he doesn't cop the racism like that anymore. I'd say. Like, I mean, like, we give him shit. Like, you know, like, you ask my dad to say Shakespeare, and it sounds like you're saying sex appeal. Like, his accent is that thick. Like, you think my dad's Mexican hearing him.
And that's an interesting, like, kind of dynamic because on one hand, you don't want racism. You don't want people being ostracized for being different. But at the same time, something that really unites and brings people together is to poke fun at each other.
Oh, yeah,
Do you know
100%.
what I mean? Like, I love, like, dark comedy and dark humor.
I love it, man.
Like when someone pushes the envelope on what can be said and gets away with it.
Yeah.
There's just this sense of like tension that's just released.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like a really big Australian star that does it a lot daily would be Carl Sandilands.
Oh, he's great.
Like when I was plumbing and I was driving every day to work, my old boss loved 106.5 every day in the car while we were working on the way home. That's all we'd listen to. And man, some of the shit this guy would say, like, was just like on religion, on racism, on like, you know, fat shaming people, and like
he'd just go for it.
Yeah, and like he'd get away with it because he's Carl Sandilands. Like he's.
Well, I guess that's the thing. Like, you know, I guess it's hard to convey that, but you have to kind of show where your intent is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can really sense when someone's calling you a Spanish fuck. To like really get under your skin. Yeah. Or someone says, you Spanish fuck.
Yeah, that's it.
It's two different things completely. Yeah. But if you type it out onto a newspaper article, it's just like you get the worst possible version of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have noticed that in Kyle, like he has definitely cut back.
Yeah.
You know, he's definitely had to scale back where he pushes the envelope or where he doesn't.
He's had a couple of close calls where he's like, you know, really been borderline in trouble with some of the shit that he said.
What was that thing?
There was one about when he was talking about Virgin Mary. I don't know if you remember. And then all these, I think it was a lot of the Catholics and Christians were like calling him up and just abusing the shit out of him for dissing their religion. And like, it caused a lot of outrage, but then I'm pretty sure he did a public apology.
But someone wrote that for him.
There you go. Like,
come on, that wasn't Kyle.
No comment.
And you know what the best part of that story is? So they kicked him off the air for like a week or something like that, right? and then he comes back and gets a raise.
Oh yeah,
because of all the viewership and all the attention he brought to the radio station.
It's crazy, man. Like,
so, like, yeah, you sure you can cancel him, sure you can, have your opinion about him, but what makes him so iconic and so great, especially for Australian culture, is that he is so divisive.
Yeah.
If you're trying to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one.
Yeah, that's it. Well, that's pretty much like he was on 104.1 with Jackie O, and then I don't know the situation there, but to my understanding, I'm pretty sure they got let go, and then they started their own radio station.
Go. They wanted more money.
Oh, okay.
They wanted more money,
but they thought that's right, and then they thought that they weren't entitled to it, like they weren't worth that. And then 106.5 happened, and they're like,
they're all I listen to. I mean, I don't really listen to radio that much anymore.
But usually, if someone said to you, like, have you heard of Carl Sandilands or Jackie O, 106.5?
Carl and Jackie O, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, Kiss 106.5.
Hey, we need to stop shouting him out. This is my fucking space.
Fuck Carl Sandilands.
Fuck you, Kyle. I'm joking, Kyle. I fucking love you. You're an icon.
But yeah. Yeah, man. Wait, what were we on? Racism.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, so I'd like to say that, we're not perfect with racism in Australia, but I feel like we've progressed a lot since then.
Yeah, and I think in Australia, like, it kind of tends to shift. So it used to be all the Wogs and Italians were like the ostracized ones.
Oh, yeah.
And then it shifted to the Asians.
Yeah.
And then it shifted to, I think where it sits now anyways, is the Arabs. Like, you see the way they're kind of depicted in the media,
100%.
the attitudes that are portrayed towards them, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. If you're Arabic or from Lebanon, like, there is definitely this air of, like, tension that some people will feel towards you. Me personally, no. Like, I fucking love everyone. I don't care. I don't care if you're blue.
Bro, you know I love everyone.
Yeah, 100%. But they would be the first to say that, they definitely experience racism.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's just how it is, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so much we can do about it, and then it's just...
I think it just takes education. It just takes time. These things come in waves and pendulum swings, and it goes from one end to the other and one end to the other.
Yeah, 100%.
But I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't have a magic wand for it.
Well,
I think
that's it.
I think if you try and do it at mass scale, it's too big of a topic to kind of tackle.
Yeah.
There's no public policy. There's no law that you can implement that's really going to shift anything. It has to come down to the individuals within that community.
Well, I'd say, like, Australia compared to most countries, like, we're pretty good in that sense. Like, we're very... I'm not saying we're amazing or we're perfect, but compared, like to the States, like, they're, like, the Central American community there cop it a lot. The African American community there cop it a lot.
The African American have done it for a very long time.
And, but the thing is as well, like the media, like, they can really change a story and change people's perspectives, like, on a view. So, like, like, I remember seeing that there was this Puerto Rican couple in, I think it was Chicago or something, and they got gunned down, right?
Wow.
At a petrol station. Just, I don't know the full story. I think there is something behind it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't disclaimed at the time.
But gunned down by, like, who? Like a cop or like?
Oh, just like randoms.
Right. Okay.
Right. I think it was because of the whole, like, Joe Biden and Donald Trump election time. So yeah, they were gunned down, but there was, like, fuck all media coverage about it. And then as soon as an African American was to, assault a white person, or was to have claim to, I don't know, try to rob a car or something, and then, like, the media just has all this extra bullshit about it. Like, how is that fair, man? Like, like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like the media can sometimes just, well, not sometimes, majority of the time, really change perspectives.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Like, firstly, I don't think it's possible to report on every single murdering and every single shooting that happens. And plus, I wouldn't want that.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to see negativity every day.
Like, you do need to address it, and it does need to be shown to the public that this is a real thing. But by the same time, like, I don't think that's very productive.
Yeah.
I don't think it offers any solutions. I think it just sensationalizes. It makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's that analogy. Like when you see a train that's gonna like have a head-on-head collision, everyone stops to watch.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, whoa, this never happens. But and I think the media has learnt to feed off of that for so long. 100%. And now because the landscape is shifting, now because the internet has actually become the main provider of information for the majority of people, they've had to become more clickbaity, more
just jumping on the train.
Yeah, really sensationalizing and opinionated. Yeah. Whereas before they would focus more on the journalism.
Well, that's like with the whole I can't remember what they were talking about when people were going to get the COVID vaccine, and then there was something in it that like all these people on TikTok were like, oh, well, do you know that like this actually does this to your body and all that? I can't remember what it was about.
There's been a lot of that.
And then people like you were saying, like clickbaiting, starting to share it or whatever. And then they'd actually like go do their research, and then they'd post again and be like, sorry, done my research. I was an idiot for sharing that.
I remember the one of that guy who was filming himself getting a COVID test.
Yep.
And he went in very armed. You could tell.
Yeah.
Like he was looking for a problem, and he kind of goes, can I see the COVID test in its packaging? And he's recording the whole thing.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And so she gives it to him, and he kind of looks at it and he goes, yeah, just what I thought. And he said the name of this weed chemical.
Yeah.
And he said, did you know that this chemical, when it gets put into your body, has these effects on you?
I think that's just, what I was trying to say.
We're talking about the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like spread so virally on the internet. Yeah. Everyone's thinking, oh my God, they fucking got us.
Yeah, yep.
And then like within 2 hours was disproven.
But that's it. That's exactly.
Yeah.
So like people were like just jumping on it to...
But I think that's the thing. The internet is very much a self-correcting process.
100%.
You know, and there's going to be a lot of misinformation. There's going to be a lot of, opinions that get presented as fact. But I think as a consensus, as a whole, people can kind of learning how to smell out the bullshit now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
But whereas with the media, like traditional TV news, they're holding on to this pretentiousness. They're holding on to this brand that they've become, that we are the authoritarian news and you listen to us because we present you the facts, which is just not true.
Yeah.
It's just not true.
Power trips at its finest.
It is... Like, if you really think about it, the news is just an extension of the government to use.
Mm.
When the government needs to present information, they go to the news.
Yeah.
You know? And the news can't question that information. They can't dig into it. They have to present it the way.
Yeah.
You know? I
feel like with this whole Delta strain that's going on right now...
What's Delta?
With this whole lockdown and Delta strain and the whole vaccines and everything, like I understand that, that like the what's the word, like how we're being forced to live with all these rules and regulations and that, like because I live in Southwest Sydney, right, and like when this whole shit started, like you as well, like we were part of the LGAs that like copped the shit from everyone. Like I was at work and they're like, you fucking Southwestern Sydney scum, fuck out of here, you dog. And I was the only cunt having to go and showing I was getting 3 tests every day.
Oh my God.
All these eastern suburb cunts were like,
yeah.
And like, man, like I've been in the shoes and it sucks, man, like, but at the same time, I feel that I wouldn't want to be in Gladys or any of those people's positions because I wouldn't know how to handle this situation, right? Like, I'd have no idea. And I think we have to remember as well that they didn't bring the virus to us. They're trying to do their best, which I feel like, it's tough for all of us, right? I feel like you're going to say something to this.
No, flesh it out, man.
Like, it is tough, man. Like, I hate what we're in right now. I'm like, I'm stuck at home. I haven't been at work for like almost 5-6 weeks. I'm fucking playing PlayStation every day. Like,
that
training.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, but like it's, you lose your structure of your life.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And I really feel for like like, man, Gladys has copped so much shit, like, the memes going on about her and all that, and like, she's just trying to do her job, and I get that.
People don't like her?
Oh, people fucking hate her.
Why?
They just, because they, how do you say it? Like, we shouldn't be doing this, we should be doing it like that, and like, I get you're angry, because I'm angry as well, and I'm in your spot, but like, how can you tell them what to do? Like they're the ones, stepping up to try and solve the problem for us.
Yes. Okay. So I agree with you. I think there's no one that could really solve this issue. There's no
yes.
one person that could really step into this and go, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this, and COVID's going to be gone.
Yeah.
That's just not possible.
100%.
But my primary issue with Gladys is that she, firstly, is very corrupt. There's no doubt about it. I don't know if you heard the story about her partner that she was dating, and this happened in between the COVID lockdowns, so it was very like hush hush. It wasn't given a lot of attention on the media.
Okay.
But basically, she got all this government funding to put within her party, and I don't know how the dynamics of it works, but she stashed away the money.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I don't know any of this.
Into paying all her friends in politics.
Right.
And she got called out for it.
No way.
Yeah, and she had to go to a jury, and she had to like present all the information, give her defense. And magically, all the documents and all the paperwork was shredded.
Yeah, right.
It was shredded. It disappeared.
There you go.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And she makes moves like that, which is very common in politics, but then enforces lockdown rules which cripple economies.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
It's, it's very much an elitist kind of attitude that people get off of her.
Okay.
She has a net worth of $10 million, and she's telling people, stay at home, take your, government money, and, don't question anything that we do.
Like, how are you supposed to, like, say you have 4 kids at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your wife's not working, you're not working.
Yeah.
The kids are too young to work, and you're getting $750 a week.
I'm probably too scared. Like, not many people want to go out and work right now.
That's the thing. Like, I'm still scared to go to work.
Yeah.
Like, when I am allowed to go back to work, and because I work in the city, I don't want to be catching a train to go to the city. Like, my dad's sick at home. If I catch something at the city on the train there or back, like, that just increases his chances of getting really sick,
Of course.
I don't want that at all. And I can 100% relate with that. Like, no one wants to be in that position. But then...
And shout out to all the people that are working during this period, because it's
100.
so easy to put your feet up and, just relax and take your $750 a week and, not work and COVID.
Yeah, 100%.
But there's people that are working in Woolies, there's people that are working in warehouses, there's people that are still working in logistics and, cleaning and things we don't even think about because it doesn't interfere directly with our life.
They're still getting
and
it
they're
done.
still out there doing it.
Yeah, they're getting it done for us,
like, huge respect. Yeah. They're the real people that have... they're the real people that keep this train going.
Yeah. They deserve all our respect and more.
100%.
Hands down.
100%.
But like you were saying, like, to receive that government funding and be expected to pay a mortgage, all your bills, groceries, and put food on the table, and like, it's hard. Like, if you don't have a net worth of $10 million, like, how is that achievable for people like us?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And for Gladys to kind of come out and say, like, oh, we all need to make sacrifices. Like, shut the fuck up.
This morning when she was saying...
do you know how much she makes a week?
I don't even want to know.
$8,000 a week. A week. That's more than what some people make in 2 months. She makes that a week.
Yeah.
And she has not stopped making money throughout this entire lockdown.
100%. Obviously she's not stressing.
No,
what does she have to stress about?
She just gave raises to the rest of her cabinet, so they got more travel allowances now. Like, why are we giving more travel allowances in a lockdown? That doesn't add up.
I don't know, man. I can't.
The writing on the wall is there for me. Like, this is not about health. This is not about trying to keep the community safe anymore. It's a power trip. It's how far can we push people before they break, And when you start seeing signs of cracks of people like going out, protesting, and that gets shut down the way it did,
Mm.
you know, like personally, I wouldn't attend a protest like that because I think it is a bit out of touch.
Yeah, I wouldn't go either.
It's a bit out of touch, but I understand your frustrations, and we need people like that to go and share that frustration. You know what I mean? Like, that is an essential part of our society, because if we can't protest, then we end up like what's going on in
Cuba?
Cuba, but there's one recently in China, I think. What's that little city in China? It'll hit me. Yeah. Anyways,
I know Cuba was doing it really bad recently.
and so it's not so much the COVID concern that's shutting down these protests, because I think, you know, to protest like that, you know, so openly without face masks, without, you know, the standard protections that we've all been told to do, then you are putting people at risk.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
Yeah.
But if we allow the government to shut down protests whenever it suits them, then when is there ever going to be a suitable protest?
I mean, I agree that we should protest, like, you know, to, you know, show them that, like, this isn't working for us, and, like, you know, we all aren't in your financial stable situations, because majority of southwestern Sydney is, like, really, really suffering, right?
Oh, extremely.
And, like, small businesses, like, it's
I think
fucked.
the scary part for me is that we are not even starting to see it. We are backlogged in so much debt right now. And I say we because my family has a small business, you know, and so I kind of get the ins and outs of how it actually works. And so when you've got no money coming in from customers, you have to delay paying your suppliers.
Yeah.
If your supplier isn't getting money from you, then they have to delay, you know, whatever payments they have to make.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's this chain effect that continues on and on and on to the very, very top where the shareholders and stakeholders are.
Yeah.
And if some of these companies start to default, if they start to fall under, that money disappears. It never gets paid back.
Yeah.
And so suddenly you're seeing this chain of, you know, this business here goes under, and this business here goes under, and this business here goes under, which is fine in a normal economy.
Yeah.
But when you're not letting people work,
Yeah.
when you're not letting people, you know, who've been forced to stay home at no fault of their own, when you're not letting them do that, and you're forcing them into these positions.
Yeah.
And, you know, as generous as $750 a week is, it doesn't cover it.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
You know, it just, I've heard so many stories of people falling through the cracks, man, and it's ugly.
No, I agree.
It's
100%.
ugly.
There's one thing I like to always keep in mind, especially in this situation, is I don't know if you've heard of this term, but it's called regression to the mean. So pretty much it means we're always in the middle, and things can get really good or things can get really bad, but it always regress back to the mean. So it's always going to come back to the middle.
Yeah.
So I feel like pretty much for the last lockdown we had, right? Things were really bad for a while, and slowly things started to get better. So we're coming back to the mean. Then things were starting to get a little bit good. You know, clubs were opening, pubs were opening, businesses were allowed to open.
Which is all people want at the end of the day. We don't want a revolution. We don't want to overthrow the government. We just want our lives back.
Exactly. And, you know, like, you know, businesses, clubs, pubs, you know, people going back to work, and things were getting back to normal. And, you know, things were starting to get even a little bit better. And then slowly this whole, you know, having, you know, case numbers every day started to increase. So then, you know, from that better stage, we started regressing back to the mean again. And now we've really shifted into the worst part, right? Which can still get worse. I'm not saying this is the worst part, right?
Oh, it can definitely get worse.
100%. But I just feel like we always have to remember that, like, as bad as it gets, like, we still have to remember that it's going to regress back to the mean. Like, this can't be our lives, like, for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
Because if you think of it like this, right? Influenza, okay? That was a really big thing back in the day. That killed so many people.
It still does.
And exactly right. It still does. People every day still die of influenza, right? But people have learned to live with it. Like, you know, you get your flu shot once a year. I don't, because not that I'm against it. It's just whenever I get the flu shot, I get the flu.
You know, I was having this conversation with Fahud the other day.
Yeah.
Like, the COVID shot's going to become the flu shot.
Exactly right.
And no one's going to do it.
Exactly right. Right? And it's like, you know, you go to the doctor and it's like, oh, you have a case of the flu. Like, you're not having 14 days isolation of the flu. Like, you get your antibiotics and whatever. I think we just haven't reached that stage yet with COVID. And even Scott Morrison, I'm pretty sure, was saying the other day, COVID's something we're going to have to learn to live with.
Okay, but we are, how many weeks now? 8 weeks into lockdown?
Yes.
Why has it taken this long?
That's not for me to answer.
We have had 2 years of COVID now. We're approaching into November, December of this year, which will hit the 2-year mark of COVID, right?
Yep.
The health advice for the past 2 years has been stay home, wear a mask, sanitize your hands.
Yeah.